Hey guys, it's still November 8th, 2017, and the November Video Bomb 2017 continues. I wanted to make another video because I was talking about Bryan Tew today, and I wanted to show y'all this YouTube video that you should watch. It's called Former DoD Contractor Bryan Tew Discusses Conscious Computers and Mind Control. So all you need to do is just go to Google, Google Bryan Tew, and you'll see this video in the results. I also please listen to that interview. It's a really good interview on mind direction technologies, kind of, and what these people are trying to do. Also, if you look up Bryan Tew on Google, if you go down a couple of results, there will be a title called Mind Control. Bryan Tew for the Mind Control for Discovery Channel, written by Bryan Tew. This is an article that he wrote for the Discovery Channel. It's actually put up here by Peace Pink. It's a worldwide campaign to stop the abuse and torture of mind control with directed energy weapons. I'm not sure what's going on with Peace Pink right now, but I will look into that. But I wanted to go ahead and read some of this article. Not sure how long I'm going to make this video. It's a very, very long article, but please check this out. I am going to read some of it. This information, so it's called Mind Control for Discovery Channel, written by Bryan Tew. This information was provided by Bryan Tew in the attached document and below. Mind control technology began in the 1960s during the Cold War and was used on unwitting citizens for non-consensual experimentation for the purpose of research and development, such as the infamous MK-Ultra programs run by the American CIA. The horror of what was happening was discovered, and the program was allegedly shut down in the 1970s, which we now know is a lie. Neuroscience is essentially the study of the human mind and central nervous system. It has now been weaponized by the CIA and Department of Defense using directed energy weapons and nanoscale devices. The human body is a vibratory organism. It is an electromagnetic organism, and as such, each organ of the body vibrates at a different frequency of electromagnetic energy. By varying the frequency and intensity of each beam of energy, CIA and NSA operatives can manipulate each region and organ of the human anatomy. Everything started in the 1960s with the Spanish scientist Dr. Jose Delgado, who conducted his famous bull experiment by implanting an electrode in the brain of one of the animals. Dr. Delgado agitated the bull until it became angry and began to attack, while at the same time standing motionless in front of the bull. When the bull would charge at him, Dr. Delgado had a remote control device in his hand that he would push, causing the bull to come to a complete stop and then spin around in circles. The CIA later hired Dr. Jose Delgado and other pioneers in the field, such as the notable neuroscientist from Norway, Dr. Jacobsen. I'm going to kind of go down here and just read as much of it as I can as time will allow. I can probably get through the whole thing. At that time, non-consensual experimentations on human beings began to occur under the guise of black ops covert weapon testing programs, for which there was no accountability, transparency, or oversight, and this continues to our present day in the 21st century. The CIA DoD paradigm has perfected the manipulation of the human body's five senses: sight, touch, taste, hearing, smell. Now they are attempting to perfect and implement a new artificial intelligence AI regime, founded not on older methods of mathematical equations known as if and then algorithms, but on a new AI regime based on a reverse engineering of the human mind. I am being hit with directed energy right now to disrupt this paper. So that's what Bryan Tew states. One of the products of this new technology is the field of synthetic telepathy, invented and developed by my friend, former CIA and DoD scientist Dr. Robert Duncan, whose conscience got the better of him after he realized that they were doing what they were doing to innocent Americans with this technology. He walked away from the CIA, blew the whistle on the covert program, and exposed it to the world. With this new technology, the CIA and NSA are able to read your thoughts, see through your eyes, and maintain a direct conversation with your mind. CIA and NSA operatives can induce directly into your brain both visual images and auditory sequences, such as voice to skull, or V2K. The British and other European countries are heavily involved in this new weapons program, developed for the purpose of controlling the masses via censorship, memory management, and direct behavioral control, all of which is now possible by what is known as nanotechnology. A nanometer is 1/millionth of a millimeter, and these microbic composite materials are so small they can only be seen with a special microscope. On average, these microbic composite materials are around 50 nanometers in size. They interact through streams of photons, directed energy flashing, and can speak to and decode the neurotransmitters in your brain. As such, we are now able to digitally communicate with the human mind via a brain-to-computer interface or an electronic brain-to-brain interface. And he says brain-to-brain interface. That's what I was speaking about in my earlier video. I consider it a brain-to-machine-to-brain interface. So, it's not going directly from somebody's brain to your brain. It actually has to go through the remote module or remote station. So I call it brain to computer to brain interface. With advances in medicine, chemistry, engineering, and other disciplines, neuroscience now includes the study of cellular, molecular, structural, functional, and evolutionary development of the human mind and central nervous system. I'm going to go down again. Okay. From molecular and cellular studies of individual nerve cell to sensory imaging and basic motor tasks of the human brain, neuroscience is no longer just a field of medicine. It has crossed the threshold of medical science and is now a chief weapons platform used by many of the national security agencies of the world. The ability to decipher the human mind has expanded exponentially in this our 21st century and has now forever altered evolution and society as we know it. They have imposed their diabolical plans into what is most important in our society, freedom to choose and the human will. They can now completely control the mind. Now they have switched tactics on me and are hammering me with a delta wave to make me drowsy so I will make mistakes in typing this up. Of course, controlling the human mind becomes more difficult when the targeted individual is aware of their schemes, but there are probably hundreds of thousands of Americans who have been exposed to this technology that are unable to determine that they are being controlled in this way. Again, CIA and Department of Defense are seeking to achieve three things with this technology: censorship, memory management, and direct behavioral control. These three are the holy grail of all mind control technologies. CNN recently reported that within 510 years we will be able to remotely, keyword remotely, modify our behavior with this technology. Not then, but it is happening right now. Again, they are seeking to create a new AI regime based on a reverse engineering of the human mind. They wish to replicate the human soul, which is essentially three things: 1, will; 2, intellect; and 3, emotion. They must perfect the technology behind these three parameters of the human soul in order to build the first quantum computer, which is still in R&D mode right now, but which the Americans and other nations of the world are racing to develop. One day soon, this quantum computer will interface between the human mind and soul by way of a neurochip, which will connect directly or remotely to a supercomputer. Kind of off kilter with the camera. I know y'all can't read this, but just go look it up on Google. Google Bryan Tew and just go down to Mind Control Discovery Channel. Mankind. Let's see. Mankind is a triune being, meaning he is composed of three things: body, soul, and spirit. This is the weakness of the new AI regime and will be its downfall. They have mastered the human body, 5 senses, and will master the human soul, will, intellect, and emotion, but they will never be able to replicate the spirit of man. The spirit of man is the conscious. The conscious of is the compass of the soul, which helps a man or woman discern right from wrong, which the new AI regime, no matter how sophisticated, will never be able to replicate, because it is not physical, but metaphysical. It is God-given. It is an innate instrument every human being is born with and cannot be replicated. I'm going to go down again so I can read what's next. It's a very, very long article. Has a lot of great information in it. I think I can get through it with the time I have. The reason NSA and CIA decided to move away from if and then algorithms to a reverse engineering of the human mind is because they realized its ineffectiveness, meaning it doesn't matter how many octillion algorithms you create, there will still always continually be those scenarios for which an AI regime based on if and then algorithms will not cover and will subsequently fail and falter because people are so unique and different, socially, culturally, and cognitively. People are too unique in their makeup for the math to cover every scenario, so they abandon the math and move to a new AI regime based on a reverse engineering of the human mind. Essentially, they are seeking an AI regime that functions just like a human brain, capable of adapting, learning, etc., i.e. the quantum computer. This type of technology could have great benefits for society, such as the ability to augment human intelligence by 1,000 times, essentially turning the human mind into a supercomputer. Hence, there are literally thousands of applications that could interface with this technology. This technology literally has the ability to alter our entire evolutionary experience in life, both positively and negatively. For example, you could literally turn the brain into a supercomputer or encyclopedia, or a giant search engine like Google. Unfortunately, instead of using it for good, the NSA and CIA have chosen to use it for evil. One method of doing this is to alter our memories by way of memory management. They can impose false memories by using a fabricated, falsified stream to inject memories into your subconscious, which you will believe are real but are not. One way this is achieved is by way of dream modulation. These memories implanted in your mind can be good or terribly bad and can be so powerful that even though you are told they are not real, you will not believe it. This is a common prerequisite to electromagnetic hypnotism, such as the CIA used on the Assistant Attorney General of Alabama when they murdered him by forcing him to commit suicide. No matter what, with repetitive reinforcement, you will come to believe the memories are your own unless you learn how to read active memory. This is a weapon system, and the government who is first in the world to perfect and employ this new neuro-warfare system will have an incomparable advantage over every other government on Earth. In fact, we know for a fact that it can be used in mass attacks against many people at one time. In Palm Springs, California, they are using it right now against between 50,100 gay men, causing them to hear voices and forcing them to behave in manners which they do not wish to follow. This is an absolute fact and has been reported on by news agencies in California. There is no way 50,100 men could all have the same symptoms, hearing the same voices, etc. It may be 5,100 men. 50 to 100. It may be 50 to 100 that he means, not 50,000. I think it may be 50 to 100. There's no way 50 to 100 men could all be having the same symptoms, hearing the same voices, etc. If this were not the NSA, CIA, DARPA arm behind this neuro attack, it is absolutely happening. People think all of these recent uprisings in the world, from Arab Springs to Venezuela to Ukraine and many others, are just a new wave of cultural and social upheaval. In fact, there is much to suggest that the CIA may be behind it, and that it is another story and not the content of this interview. Soon, warfare between Russia and the USA will include neuro-warfare attacks. It will also lead to the development of emotional and intellectual perception networks, thought police, and will gradually include our society on the grounds of national